Good morning. My name is Mark Thompson. Today I'm going to be going over nonverbal positions of power. You can find this block of instruction on page 383 through 390 of our textbook. So we're going to be looking at 8 different nonverbal channels that communicate power. Each one shapes how others perceive confidence, authority, and control. Together, they influence the balance of power in everyday interactions. These different 8 channels we're going to be looking at are physical appearance, spatial behavior, eye behavior, body movements, touch, the voice, time, and artifacts. And of course, we'll be ending with an engagement prompt at the end. With physical appearance, it kind of creates an immediate impression of power through our posture, how well you're groomed, and the attire that you're wearing. People who stand tall and look well put together are often seen as capable and more confident people. These judgments typically happen before you even start communicating verbally with one another. It's almost like people get judged based on their appearance before even talking to each other. You see this a lot. An example of this would be a businessman in a suit and tie, which is why I have that picture there. Compared to someone wearing some raggedy clothes that are dirty and gross, they might not, you're going to have a preconceived judgment of a person when you see them. With spatial behavior, which is also proxemics, how we use space communicates control and comfort. High power individuals take up more space and control seating arrangements or territory. And then low power individuals will often shrink their presence or their adjustments to others' movements. You see this a lot when people invade your personal space as a sign of power. It can be intimidating, they're trying to show that they're in charge. And if somebody's standing 10 feet away from you trying to have a conversation, it's just not a very effective way of communicating. Eye behavior. Eye contact is one of the strongest signs of dominance or submission. Maintaining steady eye contact while speaking signals confidence and authority. And avoiding or breaking eye contact often communicates uncertainty or defense. A perfect example of this one is a lack of eye contact being known as a sign of maybe being untrustworthy. You typically would imagine that the person's lying to you if they won't maintain eye contact with you. Body movement. So powerful people are often open, relaxed, and they're very intentional with their movements. Expansive posture and calm gestures suggest confidence and self-assurance. And fidgeting or closed posture often signals low power or discomfort. You go into your boss's office and he's sitting laid back in his chair with his feet on the table. That's a sign of power. But if someone's really withdrawn and has their arms crossed all the time, and it shows that they're less confident in the situation that they're in. With touch, this reveals who has more relational power. High status individuals initiate touch more often, such as through handshakes or guiding gestures. Low power individuals typically wait for permission or avoiding initiating touch. So a firm handshake is a classic example of this one. Say a young man meets his girlfriend's father for the first time. You want to make sure you give him a strong handshake to show that you're confident in yourself. That's something that we used to do a long time ago, and I've seen it over the years. It's still a pretty fairly common practice. There is also inappropriate touching, which falls into sexual harassment or assault territory. People with, they want to show that they have power over the other person. They might inappropriately touch someone in their genital area or something like that. The voice. Vocal qualities like your pitch, your tone, and the pace strongly affect how people show that they have power over the situation, like a good presenter who's doing a public speaking sort of situation. A steady, confident voice usually sounds more authoritative, and frequent hesitations, fillers, or rising pitch can signal uncertainty. For example, I just said the word as a filler word. Sometimes that happens when you're giving a longer presentation. Being well prepared up in front of, say, a class giving a presentation, it's really difficult not to use those filler words, but when presenters communicate, very, very clearly and concisely, it shows that they have confidence, their voice control, their body language, and everything in front of their audience. Time. Time reflects power through pacing, scheduling, and who waits for whom. High power individuals can often talk longer and control when conversations begin or end, while low power individuals usually adjust to the dominant person's timing. Classic example of this one will be waiting for a job interview and it's scheduled at 3 p.m. and you're sitting in the waiting room until 3:30, 3:45. You're not in a position of power, you want the job. The employer is in there working on something, he forgot about you, but he has all the power in this situation. And then another one is showing quality time with people that you're in a relationship with can show a sign of love and that you really value the relationship. Artifacts. We see this very, very commonly. A lot of times it will be designer handbags, really expensive watches, jewelry, nice sunglasses, nice clothing. So these artifacts include clothing, personal items, technology, and workspace design. So even how you lay out your office with a really nice, expensive wooden desk might be an example of this as well. People quickly form power impressions based on the objects associated with someone. This also kind of ties in with that personal appearance. If you present yourself as having very, very nice clothing and expensive items, people might think that you're in a position of power. Then lastly, our engagement prompt. Which nonverbal behaviors do you think most shape relations in your desired career field, and why do people often respond to these behaviors differently in that field? My personal example of this would be nonverbal communication in the military. If you are being disrespectful to someone by your body movement, and you're crossing your arms and you're not maintaining eye contact, and that person is your boss, that does not always go over well, and you can actually get into a lot of trouble and get written up for being disrespectful to your superiors. So let me know what you think about this, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.